he might end up having to cancel all student debt just because the system is broken. Like the servicers, because it's been paused for so long, haven't been keeping up with where people are. A bunch of the servicers have said, we don't even want to work with the Department of Education anymore. But it might logistically be impossible for the federal government to restart collecting the money again. If you add on top of that, only collect it from people who made X amount of money over the last 3 years. And if they made, 20% less than that, you collect 20% less. If they made 30% more than that, you collect 30% more. Like the more complicated you make it, the less likely it is that they can actually implement it. So it's just much simpler to say, you know what, fine, we're done. This was broken. It didn't work. There was obviously a design flaw in how we put this together. We're canceling it. If you got debt cancellation and you make more than $100,000, you owe this surtax. Like that, the IRS can actually handle. To have the Department of Education try to figure out this other thing, and also, people lose their jobs all the time. People go through life crises. Like people go through a couple years of making good money, then they go through a couple years of being in trouble. So when they're getting into trouble, do they have to then reapply to the Department of Education? It's just like, why create all this extra bureaucracy when you could just simply do it this way? It would be my argument.
Right, although I still see the surcharge as extra bureaucracy because it's different than what we have now. Although that does make more sense, but I still think there's no responsible way to cancel everything if it is not coupled with cost control measures, because it takes away incentives. Even it's sort of like exactly what happened with Build Back Better, and that's why people like AOC were totally vindicated in not voting for it. In that you lose the leverage if you cancel the student debt without cost controls. You're just going to give Big Ed, which I think is appropriately referred to as Big Ed, it is a special interest group that puts a lot of money into our politics. If you just give the incentive to continue raising costs without anything to stop that process in motion, I think it just gets worse and worse for kids down the line.